episode 5. How are you, boy?
Fun and you, Timo. Lekker. Yeah, it was a good weekend of URC rugby. Some nice derby games. I didn't manage to watch all of the games. In fact, I only watched our 2 derby games, but I watched the highlights of the others, and I'll just read out the stats.
Yeah, in true South African fashion, I've had power problems the whole weekend, so I watched where I could, when I could. But before we go, just thanks for all the views and all the comments and all the likes and everything. We appreciate all the support. It is a passion project for us, so we're doing it because we enjoy it. So we do appreciate all the views and the likes and the comments and everything.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think the next URC. I think there's one URC game next weekend, but the Six Nations starts again, so we'll carry on with that. And then the weekend after that, URC is back in full blast. So we'll do some load shedding where some of us will watch certain rounds and others will watch other rounds, and we'll give our takeaways on those games.
No, definitely.
All right, well, let's jump straight into
the rapid schedule for us is a whole year thing now, so we're gonna try and get to everything, but we'll cover most of the major things. But the big thing is mostly our opinions on it. Is what we focus on and how we feel about what's happening in there.
Well, we are trying to watch as many games as possible, and we'll keep on trying to do that. I didn't manage to catch a Super Rugby, which also started this weekend. But yeah, I think we'll also start going through that and including that in our future episodes. Let's jump straight into it.
Let's go.
So the first game of the weekend that we had was Edinburgh versus Zebra. I think both of us said that Edinburgh was gonna win this one, and Edinburgh did play at home. So this is quite a shocker. I'm actually very, very disappointed I didn't get to watch this game. But just to look through it, if we go through the stats quickly, I can see that each side scored 3 tries. It's McCann, Teopolato, Crosby from the Edinburgh side that scored 3 tries. Trula, Garcia, Di Bartolomeo from Zebra. This is actually very good for Zebra because I know that Zebra is on the verge of closing, so yeah, this is
not
very
existing anymore.
Yeah,
well, look, like we discussed, in one of the last 2 episodes, we did say, choose whatever we tell you, go against whatever we say. We did it with the England thing. It's apparent in the URC as well. So, if we pick a team for the win, just choose the other team. Probably going to be a safe bet.
Yeah. The other one is Leinster versus Ospreys. Ospreys came close. Ultimately, Leinster did take the win with 3 points, 22-19. So we did say last time that if Ospreys wanted to win it, this was the game. But just going through the lineup, the Leinster didn't have that bad of a team. Obviously not their star-studded A team that's all the way on for the Six Nations, but. They did still have Kieran Frawley, the guy that cost us that game against Ireland in Durban. They still have. I thought Snyman started. Did he come off the bench?
Yeah, I think the big thing that they can look at from this perspective is that they know where they need to work on their depth, because clearly once their main players are not there, they are quite lacking in depth. Because the Ospreys also had a lot of international players that were out or are out.
Yeah.
And looking at both these sides, it's 2 very unknown sides. So the scoreline doesn't surprise me too much.
Yeah.
If I was Leinster, though, I would be worrying, because it means that you are lacking in depth if you go that close to score to a team like Ospreys, considering you're top of the log versus somebody that's a lot lower on the log. It's
well, then again, Ospreys did have some bangers this URC season. Was the previous one where they beat Lions at home. So the Ospreys have every now and then had one of those or a few of those games where they just pull the rabbit out the hat. And I mean, Leinster does have an unlimited budget with our ex-Springbok coach coaching them. Or assisting in coaching them. I do know that he hasn't taken over completely yet. They've got Argus Snyman, which is probably one of the best locks in the world. I rate him way up there with Ebenezer. But yeah, so, and obviously 90% of the Irish team. But yeah, well done, Ospreys, hell of an effort, and well done,
But
Leinster.
again, it's what we said with the Ireland versus Scotland game. That was also a scrappy game.
Yeah,
It comes down to that again. A good team will always get a positive result. So Leinster
100%.
still walks away with 4 points.
Yeah,
And so that's mission accomplished for them, considering they don't have any of the the
yeah,
18 players there
yeah,
because they're all playing for Ireland.
yeah.
But still getting the positive results. That's 4 points. That means you stay on the top of the log.
Yes.
So mission
And
accomplished.
undefeated in the URC. You said it last
Yes.
week. You said it last episode. A win is a win. Doesn't matter how much and how far. Then,
Yes.
then we get to the Lions and the Stormers. Now this game I watched, and it was a horrid game to watch. Now I think both of us said the Stormers were going to win this one. And actually, on my Super Brew, I'm sure you saw that I actually picked the Lions just after that, because at the time of our previous recording, we didn't have the teams. And I remember Sasha was those
Topic,
clips.
yes. It was a
Yes,
big
yes.
topic for us.
And when I saw that he wasn't chosen for the team, I said no, the Lions are going to win this. And the reason is, I'm not blaming this on injuries. This loss goes way beyond injuries, but I think that the Stormers did need someone like a Mani Lebok, a Damon Willemse, or a Sasha Feinberg or Mazulu. Even a Suleiman Atzenberg.
I'm gonna say something controversial again. And again, every episode it seems like we need somebody to move out of rugby.
Yeah.
But the Stormers are in a very bad position, and I do feel that it's coaching related. I just feel that there's not enough. But I'm gonna add. I just want to add another 2 cents on this.
Yeah, go
The
for
South
it.
African franchises are going to have to start looking at mergers. They're going to have to start looking at incorporating the smaller unions in South Africa, where, for example, the Pumas would merge with the Lions and stuff, just to create that bit of extra depth in the sides. So that because I mean, we're playing 3 international competitions at the moment: the URC, the EPCR,
Yes.
and the Challenge Cup. And I feel that at the moment we're just lacking depth, and we're getting injuries that's not necessary, and things like that.
Yeah.
And I feel that if we do small mergers, we can create a concept where we've got 2 or 3 sites.
Yeah.
Because just remember, our traveling is killing us at the moment. Leinster plays a French club, for example, when it comes to the EPCR or the Challenge Cup and whatever. And they own by dinner.
Yeah.
For us, it's 18, 19
Traveling
hour
is
flights and stuff.
yeah. But I did
We need
read.
to start looking at the merger.
Yeah, I did read that it's gonna get traveling is gonna get a lot better for us from next season, especially in the Challengers Cup, because then we do become, I think it's called official partners, where the guys will be flying business class and have a lot less stoppages. But yes, I get what you're saying. See, for us South Africans, and I, as a massive rugby fan and as a supporter, I don't mind. But we do have basically a 12-month season. We have rugby almost throughout the whole year. In fact,
Yeah, I think last year we actually spoke about it when the
yes,
season ended. I think we had um, basically half of January off, and then it's
yeah,
the Christmas period, half of
yes,
January,
yeah,
and then you're back to training and stuff.
hundred
And
percent,
it's showing with our injury list
yeah,
that the guys' bodies can't take it
100%,
anymore. It's a lot. No, we're
yeah.
not complaining about that.
We're not complaining, we don't know what to do with ourselves when there's no rugby on the weekend. But let's jump in definite. I think my 2 cents. I think it was a very messy start for both sides. I think the
No,
Stormers.
definitely.
I think the Stormers had very bad execution. They had multiple opportunities, to score and just capitalize, but they just couldn't. I remember thinking in the start of the game, or the first half at least, or actually throughout the game, the Stormers were on the line multiple times, and they just couldn't get over. Eventually,
But that comes down to the importance of a decent fly off or a decent scrum
hundred
half,
percent, yeah,
where I feel that there's lack of execution.
yeah,
But I also feel that if you've got lack of direction, and this
yeah,
is the problem
yeah,
where Dobson
yeah.
comes in, is this lack of direction. It just feels like the Stormers are doing the same thing over and over and over, and hoping to get different results.
Yeah.
Now, as far as I know, Einstein said that's the definition of insanity, right? So, again, don't want to say it, but it is time for him to go.
Well,
It's time for him to go.
I think, like I said in the start, I don't want to blame everything on injury, but I do get what you're saying. It feels like a lot of the times the Stormers players are just throwing the ball around, and I think that even Dobbo was just hoping that something will happen out of nothing, And I don't. It seems like there wasn't a lot of cohesion. So that could be because of they're losing. They don't have a lot of their key players. I don't know, but yeah, it looks very bad. A perfect indication of the Stormers not capitalizing, on their opportunities is if you look at the stats. The Stormers had 63% possession and 72% territory, yet they won. And in all honesty, in my opinion, the Lions could or should have probably won that game with a lot more. It was really, really, really bad. On the 50th minute.
Well, the one thing the Stormers always have had a decent amount of is their very defensive side.
Yeah.
At some point when I was looking at the highlights, looking at the start of that game, I really thought that the Lions were gonna put 80 points on. Were gonna put 80 points on us, and it was brutal. It was, and I was just watching the highlights, and I was negative. The fight back. I can't say it was a Stormers initiative because the fight back pretty much came from Warwick. There was no other person that really did it.
It was definitely a standout.
And Yuri Mattia on flyoff for me it's not an option. He's not a commander. He doesn't lead that back line, and it was evident there was no structure in that back line. And he had that stupid pass that he did. There was no reason for that pass. That could have been a plain simple pass, which would have put Simelane in a good position as one of the big steppers at the moment in our team. And we would have probably gone and scored there. It was a stupid thing to do, and there was no reason for it.
I know which one you're talking about. I'm sure it's one of the 50th minute. It's here on my notes. I made a note of that one actually as well. Is Yuri Mattia gets possession after a knock-on from Henku van Wyk, and then he passes a beautiful pass. Well, I thought it was a beautiful pass. I think one Nesile Simelane should have caught it. I always say if you can touch it, you can catch it. But Jean de Villiers agreed with you. He was on the commentators, and he also said that it was an unnecessary pass. To me, I felt like we needed more of that. I think that if Simelane caught that ball, it could have been on. Another incident on the 50th minute is where the ball was being passed wide to Angelo David, and he just knocks it on. And I felt like if he caught that ball, it would have been on. That was going to be a try. There was a lot of those little moments where the Stormers were just not getting into the game, whereas the opposite was true for the Lions. The Lions, they just took their opportunities, and I'll give you a good example of them taking the opportunity. Warwick Geland, like we just both said, he was a stand-up player for the Stormers over the weekend. He gets a yellow card in the 14th minute, and the Lions scored 2 tries. That's obviously because the fullback, there's no fullback. No, that last line of defense isn't there. But yeah, it just. I just felt like the Lions took their opportunities and their attack looked dangerous. We'll go through players that I thought.
Lions, the Lions always look dangerous at home, and the Lions play that brand of rugby that we like to watch.
They do. Very, very attacking.
Dangerous rugby and stuff like that. And that attacking where they just like go at it. They don't hold back. And it showed. I've always thought, for example, the one player that stood out for me in the Lions side, there was 2. Henku van Wyk was just there was no answer to
monster.
That. And then obviously Quine Horn coming into the game, and he was massacring the back line.
He's making Rassi's job very difficult for sure. With that 15 jersey, he's really putting making an argument for that jersey in the Springbok side. Quine Horn looked brilliant. He scored 2 tries, if I'm not mistaken, or at least late 2 try assists. I'll go through the stats now. But yes, he was beautiful. Another interesting fact or another interesting stat that I'm reading here: the Lions had 14 turnovers to the Stormers' 3.
That's just a disgrace. To me, it's just disgraceful. I mean, there's no reason. That means, if you look at a stat like that, you can almost say, did the Stormers even pitch up on the field?
100%.
Because turnovers has become such a major part of the game. And you look at that, and I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. For me, as a Stormer supporter, that's disgusting.
No, it is. The Stormers scrum look okay. You see, the thing for me, I think this is a rock bottom for the Stormers. My team, the Sharks, have been there many, many times before. But I think that this is a rock bottom for Stormers, and I think they need to do something. They desperately need to do something because I doubt that they're going to make the playoffs. For the URC, I just don't see them making the playoffs. I think their first,
I'm coming back to the coaching stuff on that though, and I'm
yeah,
going to say this, and it's not. It's idiotic bias that they are doing. I mean, okay, the big thing they brought Kobus Reinach back. I
yeah.
understand kind of why they did that, but is that really where we want to be now? Bringing back a scrum off that is basically on the verge
Yeah.
of retirement,
I,
um,
I yeah, I
and then
agree with
also
that by
looking
the
at it from a yeah, I agree with it, but it depends on how they use it.
yeah. I th-
But I do feel that we lost a potential future Springbok scrum off to the Bulls,
yeah,
which was for me was unnecessary.
yeah,
And then I'm looking at these things, Lauder coming in from London Irish. There's no reason with the wings we've got for him to be there. There's
yeah,
no reason that we couldn't have stepped into one of the smaller unions
yeah,
and pulled in a wing from South Africa, or
yeah,
rather bring back a South African winger. I mean, I'm thinking off the top of my head. I'm thinking of somebody like Madosh Tambwe that could have come back to
yeah,
South Africa,
yeah,
where he can actually play for national team.
yeah,
And I just feel it's this idiotic bias that are happening,
yeah,
and it's under coaching for me.
yeah,
It feels like, is there anything that happens in the training field? Because all the matches that I've watched now, we've become so reliant on Warwick Geelong to do something, because the Stormers rugby has become so one-dimensional
yeah,
that it's become the easiest team to defend, and that's why we're losing.
yeah,
We're not losing games because we're not good. We're losing games because we have this one-dimensional mentality, and it's costing us matches.
yeah. Yeah, like I said, I don't think Stormers are making um, playoffs. They had their opportunity last weekend, or the weekend before, where they were playing the Bulls at home. They lost that game. They probably could have and should have won this game. The Lions looked very good. I'm not taking away anything from the Lions, but ultimately I do see them as probably one of the weaker of the four South African unions. So they're running out of options. Actually, funny enough, I actually did create a roadmap for the Stormers. Just pulling it up here. So um, they're playing the Bulls away. Next. That's in round 13. Which I don't know if
I
they're
can't
gonna.
see us winning. I can't see us winning that.
Yeah.
No.
Then they
Not at Fort Loftus. No.
then they're playing Scarlets away. They can win that. They should win that. But the Scarlets have beaten the Bulls away. They're playing Ulster away. They can win that. They should win that. But I mean, that's what we said about these last two games. Then they're playing Connacht at home. Um, you know, they should win that one. Then they're playing Benetton at home. Benetton can be an up and down side. Then they're playing Dragons at home and Cardiff at home. So the question comes now: even if they win that Benetton, Cardiff, Dragons, Connacht, Ulster, Scarlets, will that be enough points to secure them a position in the playoffs? I'm almost fairly certain they are. Let me just double check. 15th on the log at the moment. But like I said, the Stormers are running out of options.
I
Dobbo
think
needs
I
to do
think I
something.
think I think what the Stormers need to do now is they seriously need to have a regroup session. They
10th.
need to sit
Yeah.
down and say, okay,
100%.
this is the injuries we've got. We need to go to some of the other unions. We need to go to the Griquas. We need to go
Yeah.
to Boland. We need to look at the Pumas. We need to even possibly potentially go and look at the Cheetahs and say, guys, listen here, we're going to do a merger, and get some depth in your squad. I mean, at the moment, depth is the thing that's costing
100%.
the Stormers dearly.
Yeah.
And I think the second thing is lack of depth, or the quality of depth that we've got is down to the coaching staff. And I
Yeah.
think that is the biggest problem in Stormers rugby at the moment. Is
Yeah.
Dobson is past his due date, and he needs to go.
Yeah.
At what point is he? At what point are they going to realize
Yeah.
that he's driving Stormers rugby into a place where we're going to finish last on the log for the next 4 or 5 seasons,
Yeah.
before they realize, I don't want to have a similar situation like Wales had with Gatland, where it's become so apparent that they just shit and nobody's saying anything or
Yeah.
doing anything to rectify the
Yeah.
situation.
Well, I see this.
As one of the richer unions,
Yeah.
there's no reason for us to sit with a subpar coach. And at the
100%.
moment, I think the Stormers are probably sitting with the worst coach
Yeah.
in the
Hey,
URC
well,
or in
you have Johan Ackerman
international
that just came
competition.
back to South Africa, and I think if I'm not mistaken, he's in Cape Town. So put a bet in for him.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I see the Stormers are actually 10th on the log, but I mean that's really sugarcoating it with 11 games and only 4 wins. But yeah,
No,
let's
look,
just
well, we can still reach the playoffs.
yeah
There's no doubt in that. But
yeah
we now in a position in the season where we need to rely on other teams to
yeah
mess up and other teams to lose
yes
for us to really
yeah
get into that. And because if you look at majority of the teams we still have to play, they below us on the log.
yeah. So
So
yeah
it's not
yeah. You see,
easy games for us.
no, it's not. If they do make it to the playoffs, though, um, and I'm going to say this, the Stormers don't have the worst chance of winning it, and I know that's controversial, but I mean they've got a lot of people, a lot of players that still need to come back. Okay, firstly, secondly, our first URC, the one that Stormers won, they also didn't start off too well. I don't think it was as bad as it is now, but they didn't. And the Stormers are a different beast when it comes to playoffs. I think
Yeah, but if we reach the
if
playoffs
we
though,
reach the
what
playoffs,
does that
yeah,
situation look like? We're playing
yeah,
either Leinster or Glasgow or the Bulls
or the
or
Sharks,
whoever. Right.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
playing those teams away.
away,
That's
yeah,
already a tall order. And then
yeah.
when do you come back? Moni Leboeck comes back from injury. Sasha comes back from injury. Damian
Damien,
Willem comes back from
mm,
injury. These guys haven't had game time in 2 or 3
yeah.
months. You
Mani
get what I'm
hasn't
saying?
been too bad, but Damien hasn't played for very long. Um, but I mean, Damien is and used to be used to be one of our or the best 15 in the world. So let's see. Let's see if we can just
I think we're getting back to that thing, but we'll discuss
yes, yes, yes.
the teams
Let's
later. Then
yeah.
we'll give our opinion on that.
Yeah, let's do a deep dive in some standout players. To me, okay, Gianni Lombard, he looked average to me. That's the 10 for the Lions. He had a few bad clearance kicks. Not making a lot of meters when he was kicking for the line out. Mornay van der Berg was beautiful, crappies. And the thing is, him and Quayne Horn just have this connection. You'll see there's 2 tries that they score. And it's the one is where Quayne makes a break, passes to Krappies comes through. The second one, same thing, Quayne makes a break, passes to Krappies passes to Henko van Wyk, and Henko van Wyk scores a try. So he was very good to me, for me. I think the Springboks haven't really had a star number 9. Grant Williams is brilliant. Don't get me wrong. Grant Williams is, but is he a superstar? You know what I'm saying? Not like a Jameson Gibson Park or Antoine Dupont. You know what I'm saying? We've always had superstar 10s, but I feel like getting a superstar 9. And I'm not saying Mornay van der Berg is that, but he could be. Might just take us to that next level. But we'll get to the alignment camp. Mornay van der Berg has been mentioned in there, and who we think should be there. To sort of push us over. But yeah, he was very very good. Quayne Horn, man of the match. He had the most successful carries for the Lions. He had 6 carries, successful carries. He had the most clean breaks, 4. Most defenders beaten, 5. Most meters made for the Lions, 82. Most offloads for, with 2. Most turnovers ones with 2. Quayne Horn was just a machine, and he really is making Rassi's job very difficult with that 15 shot. He's going up against Apalele Fassi. For me, he still edges it. But yes, Quayne Horn, he really he showed us that he deserves to
Look,
be in the
if Rassie has to pick a fullback now, and the Springboks were playing, let's say next weekend Saturday, Quayne Horn would be the default choice. Fassi's been out with injury for a
injury.
while
I
now.
think he still
Even
just came from
if he's
operation. Yeah.
yeah, if he's even going to be ready for the Rugby Championship and stuff like that. I mean, you're looking at it from Rassi's perspective. You've got Villiers you've got Quayne Horn at the Lions. You've got Galant that's on form at the
Yo.
Stormers at the moment. I mean, and you've got Fassi at the
Yeah.
Sharks. Plus, then you look at who's excluded in this. Is you're looking at Damian Willems is still
Yeah.
excluded out of this. Sasha, who has played on fullback, is still excluded out of this. You've still got Jordan Hendrikse, that can step in on fullback. That's
15.
been
Yeah.
doing
Look,
fantastic
well.
work at fullback on the
Yeah, I
Sharks.
did.
See, Rassi's literally got like 9 fullbacks to pick from,
Yeah.
which all of them, in my opinion, will slot into a green and gold jersey tomorrow without any problems or hesitation.
Yeah. Ruan Venter, he was an absolute beast. That's the one flank or loose forward that I feel doesn't get talked about enough in the Springbok setup or in the, I know that he has been capped and he did well with that cap, but I honestly think Ruan Venter is a monster. We're always talking about who's going to take over for Pieter Steph du Toit, and it's Ben Jason Dixon's name comes up, which I don't think he's our guy. Ulrich Lowe, we talk about Ulrich Lowe, but I feel like Ruan Venter is hard. He's a hard man. He was he was such a strong. He is such a strong carrier, and I feel like his name should be in contention. And I know he was also been mentioned in the lineman camp, and I really hope to see a little bit more of him in a Springbok shirt this year.
Look, the big thing with the Lions forwards is that it's going to come down to this. The Lions play a brand of rugby that's extremely attacking, so they don't play a very forward dominated game, a game that is led by their forwards. But I do think that, and that's why we tend to overlook these guys.
Yeah.
The Bulls, we tend to look at the forwards because they play a very forward dominated game.
Yeah.
You look at the Sharks, very forward dominated game. You look at the Stormers, which is probably a 50-50 between both.
Yeah.
But their forwards have just, for me, been outplayed in every single match that they've played this season, and that's probably where the big problem with
I really like Ruan Venter. I hope that the Sharks buy him, but I really like him. There was the Currie Cup final last year where Ruan Venter walked over. Is it Emil van Heerden? He walked straight over him, and they actually had to take Emil off the field, because of it. So to me, yeah, he's a monster, and I'd actually like to see a bit more of him. Edwal van der Merwe, I know that there is a conversation about the Sharks buying Edwal, and I'm very excited for this. He had a beautiful chip kick that led to the third try for the Stormers, and yes, Edwal van der Merwe is always in form. You can forget when he got capped for the Springboks against Wales when he made a double tackle and also scored a try. So Edwal van der Merwe
I actually feel sorry for the guy because I feel that he's had such tough competition. You look at Jason Colby, you look at Curtly Orange, Mapimpi when he was on form. There's so many good wings. And Edwal van der Merwe's big enemy at the moment is his age. I think that's where his big thing comes in because, looking at it from a Springbok perspective, everybody goes, Jason Colby's almost on retirement. Mapimpi's basically on retirement. So who's the next guy? Putting a guy in there that's basically hitting 30 is not going to be the answer because how long are you going to get out of them?
Yeah, well, in the Shark setup,
we got so many young wings that are coming through.
Yeah.
I don't understand that buy from the Sharks. I honestly don't, unless they're looking for a temp replacement for somebody like Mapimpi to just fall in there till they can get it, or maybe assist with some grooming of future players. Because let's face it, Mapimpi is still brilliant, but he is he is closer to retirement than he was, yesterday. So we'll.
Okay, moving on to Hengo van Wyk. Also very, very good. Hengo van Wyk, I think, he did very, very well. He had a few breaks. He scored the second try. He had a beautiful counter ruck in the 54th minute, which led to turnover ball and was right in front of the try line. I actually think that South Africa is blessed with the centre talent that is coming through. It's Hengo van Wyk, Renzo Julius, Ethan Hooker. There's so many young. You can even put David Kriel in that mix. I know he also got a call up. So I think there's so many young, good players that are coming through, or centers that are coming through to South Africa, which I think is definitely not going to be that position definitely won't be a problem for us in the future.
No, I agree with that, and he's obviously also one of the players that put his name up for to get that call up.
Yeah, 100%. He's brilliant.
And at the moment he does look, but it's difficult because we've got Julius, we've got the number 13 for the Stormers. You've got Hengo van Wyk, you've got the informed Jesse Kriel there. It's hard to say is one of them really edging it. If one of them is edging it, it's probably Julius at the moment.
Yeah, it's a tough battle. It's a very, very tough. When it comes to physicality, I think Hengo is a bit more physical, but Julius is just elusive. He can make something happen out of nothing. So it's a tough battle.
No, for sure.
And then JC Pretorius looked very good for me. He always looks good to me. He had the most tackles, which is 14 tackles. He looked very, very good. I honestly think he is also one of the very good. He makes me think a lot of the small flank that we've got, man. Kwagga Smith. He makes me think a lot of Kwagga Smith, not just his play style, but just the fact that he's also a bit of a smallish show. He's definitely also very, very young.
Well, we've all been rating him high and making him a logical number 6. The big problem that you've got with him is he's really small.
Yeah.
And if you're going to compare him, playing international rugby against guys that he's going to be facing, guys like Adi Savia, Cunningham South, the Curry brothers, for example.
Yeah.
You look at the loose forwards of France, Ireland, as well. It becomes is he going to be able to sustain that for 80 minutes against quality competition like that? And at the moment, unfortunately, I just can't see it. Would he be a good impact player, though, coming in at a later stage in the match when everybody's a bit tired, being smaller, being able to get underneath the guys and stuff? Probably a good solution.
Yeah. Look, he is strong, but I do get where you're coming from. Then from the Stormers, we had Warwick Geland. He was brilliant. Like I said, he scored the first try for the Stormers. He had the most offloads with 4. He had a few very nice line breaks. A good example, when he was off for 10 minutes with the yellow card, you felt it, obviously the Lions capitalized on that fullback not being there, but yes, he really is also putting his hand up for contention. I don't think that he will wear a Springbok shirt anytime soon, but there's a big argument to make that he sort of deserves it. He really, really is very, very good.
I agree with that. He has been standing out in the Stormers jersey, but then again, considering our first choice fullback with Damian Willemse is injured, okay, so Damian back on form, okay, is that then going to be? Is he going to stay in the side though? And that's the thing.
Yeah.
We need to look at, and he's also on the wrong side of the age gap again, because he's 30 plus, which means is it going to be viable for us to go with him, considering he's probably not going to reach the next World Cup.
Yeah, to me, I just checked here. I think Warwick 29. For me, and even with Damian Willemse coming back, one of the best fullbacks in the world. It would be a waste not to use Warwick, So if I was Dobbo, I would probably see if I can put Damian on 12 or 10. Probably 12. Warwick has just really, really been sticking his hand up, and it would, like I said, it'll be a waste not to use him,
I just think he's a dying breed at the moment, and look, I've got a lot of respect for the guys. He has been in the Springbok jersey. He's been a good Springbok. He's been a good fullback for the Stormers in the absence of Damian Willemse and stuff. Damian Willemse on 12 doesn't make logical sense to me. They've got that new kid at the Stormers now, that Roche. I do think he's the future for inside center there. But then you need to consider you've still got Sasha that can also play inside center. You've got Mani, so there's a lot of options. But I just don't see Warwick getting another 5 or 6 years out of his rugby career in any franchise with the young talent that is available at the moment to choose from. Evan
Roos looked good for me. He scored try number 2. He made 100 meters. Most defenders beaten. He scored a second try for the Stormers. The thing with Evan Roos, though, you can see the lines at the homework with Evan Roos, because it felt like they were really targeting him, and they sort of identified him as a threat. And as soon as he had the ball, someone was there. He still looked very good. Even with that. But I felt like Evan Roos, the Lions did a very good job at times closing him down.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem that I've got with Evan Roos, although I rate him very highly. I think he's an easy player to read, and I feel that if he goes into the international level, your big teams are going to nullify him too quickly. And I think that's why when we went back and we looked at the Springbok squad earlier when the Stormers were playing the Bulls,
Yeah.
and we did say who we would pick, we would definitely. Evan Roos is definitely up there,
Yeah.
but I think he's going to be an easy player to play against, considering he's not. He relies on brutality, he relies on physical strength. So that makes him a very easy player to counter. And then, again, I'm going to say this, consider this, if he's going to play against probably, let's say, the All Blacks, that arguably as one of the best number 8s in RD Sevilla.
Oh, yeah.
That's not even a competition for me at the moment. I think RD wins that so far. That Evan Roos is going to look like under 13 scuba rugby player compared to Sevilla.
Yeah, I like Evan Roos. I think there's a lot of potential in him. I think sometimes you get like when he was playing in the Springbok shirt last year. I think he did get at times a bit of white line fever. But yeah, I think he's very, very good. And once again, I just think that speaks to the position of privilege that we are in with that position. And how many good young loose forwards are coming through for South Africa.
Definitely.
Ben Loader looked good for me. I know you don't like him too much, and I think he's going to leave to go back to his old club soon. But I mean, he had a few hard tackles. He had the most successful carries with 10. He had the most clean breaks, which is 4. So he looks very good for me as well. I actually like Ben Loader. I'm also not the biggest fan of.
I think the big thing with Ben Loader is he's there because most of our other wings are injured. If you compare him to the rest of the outfit, you look at Leoland Zas and the rest
Suleiman
of the guys that can come, Hartzenberg, and all them, there's not really space for him in it anymore.
No.
And then also another thing to consider, if Damian Willemse does come back, you're sitting with the thing of Warwick Geland played a lot of games on wing for the Boks.
Yeah.
So it's actually another option that might not be him of the team, but having somebody like Willemse that's going to create all those gaps, and having Warwick with all his, his bag of tricks running alongside Willemse, that's another thing the Stormers can
100%.
consider. So I don't think losing Loader, although he has moments of okayness, I don't think is an indefinite solution. And I don't think it's going to be like, oh, we lost Loader now, our hopes are gone.
Well, if Lionel Zas comes back and Suleiman Hartzenberg comes back, you don't need him. But he had a good game for me. I really think so. But I agree with you. Then also the last one for the Stormers is Paul. It's Paul de Villiers, the number 20, the flanker that came on. He also looked, pretty good. Also, I haven't seen much of him before. I think I've seen him in one other game, and I think he was playing in the Currie Cup a few games for the Western Province. But yeah, he's also a young 22-year-old, player that's coming through. Another loose forward that really looks exciting, and I'm hoping to see a bit more of him.
Yeah, well, let's hope. I mean, I just don't see that. It's sad for me that we've got loose forwards that's coming through the ranks, and then the Stormers buys or brings back Siya Kolisi. That doesn't make logical sense for me. Siya, a true legend of the game, probably one of the best Springbok captains, has never truly been the best loose forward, but he can lead a team, and I think it's sad for me. I'm excited and sad at the same time because I think the Stormers lack leadership, and I think he's going to bring that back. But also, looking at the future. So the Stormers have made 2 buys for next season, and both those players are players on the verge of retirement in Siya Kolisi and Cobus Reynolds.
As far as I know,
it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, as far as I know, the Sharks stopped that deal. I don't think he's coming down to the Stormers anymore.
No, well then that's great news for me actually.
Yeah, for me, as I love Siya Kolisi. He is definitely one of my favorite players. I've got a big drawing of him in the back of at the back here. I love Siya Kolisi, and I think he looks brilliant on 8 for the Sharks. We actually missed him a bit this weekend. We needed that physicality up front. But yeah, I'm glad that he's not going down to the Stormers and he's staying with us for a bit longer.
No, for sure.
Then the next game, that was the Bulls versus the Sharks. Now this one was just as when I look at this, when I'm looking at the heading now, the question comes to mind still is, how did the Sharks win this? I still don't understand. But yeah, let's dive into it. I think the Sharks got and we predicted this last weekend. We predicted this. That the Sharks are going to get absolutely decimated in the scrums. The Sharks conceded 17 penalties. They had 3 yellow cards at one stage. With only 12 players in the field, and that was penalties conceded from collapsing the maul, which was a maul that was just unstoppable. The Bulls just had this maul that was unstoppable. They were getting destroyed in the scrums. I think the Sharks got 1 scrum penalty, and to me, it still looked like that was actually supposed to be a Bull penalty. But anyways, the Bulls were looking, violent up front, violent. On the 48th minute, there was a maul. The Bulls, it looked like they were mauling for 30 meters. It was, but the Sharks didn't just sneak it away. They won this game with 10 points. So well done to the Sharks, and
it comes back, like I said earlier, a good team will get the results, and the Sharks did that. I think it was more a case of the Sharks just capitalized a lot better. I think they took their chances a lot better, and I think the Bulls, they started Vili at 10 again.
Yeah.
It's not the answer.
Yeah.
And it was going to cost them the game. It's not his position.
Yeah.
It's not where he needs to be. It's not, and it's putting the Bulls under pressure. I mean, you spent all that money to bring that guy from the Sharks over. And you're not using him. And you're not using him. I feel it's a bit silly. I feel it's a bit cynical. But Jack White, like you said, he's obviously a World Cup winning coach, and he's got an idea there. I just don't think that idea is working out for him at the moment.
Vili really did let the Bulls down this weekend. He wasn't looking too hot. I'm not saying there's multiple reasons he can jot it down for the Bulls losing. But they won, same as the Stormers, obviously just a bit different. But they also didn't capitalize on the opportunities, which they had multiple opportunities to score, and they just didn't. In the first few minutes, I thought the Bulls were going to run away with this game. 3 minutes into the game, Jan-Hendrik Wessel goes over for a try, and I thought that's it. But then the Bulls are playing against a 12-man Shark at one stage, but they were just firing empty shots. They had the same problem. In fact, I'll give you. It was about on the 57th minute. We had 3 yellow cards, and there was a 2-point difference, and that's when I knew that the Sharks are going to make it. And the reason I knew it is because I've seen this game before. This exact game.
We saw it in the semifinals.
Semifinals of the Currie Cup, it was the exact same thing.
I just don't get that logic from the Bulls. If you've got such a big overlap, and I mean, okay, in the semifinals, it was backline players that were off, and you're sitting with a 3-man overlap, and not once do you actually go wide. And again, now you're sitting with the overlap in the scrum, and you don't use it. I just don't understand it. And for me, it's a mentality issue that I feel that's at the Bulls, where you need to get away from that mentality of trying to have your guys run over everybody when you've got a 3-man overlap.
Well, I still think the Bulls are a very good team. They also up and down. I mean, remember when in the Champions Cup when the Northampton Saints came down to Loftus, it was the same thing. They just weren't capitalizing on the opportunities, and Northampton Saints, did. But and then on the other side, the Sharks, to me, looked amazing on attack. They were, yes, they were good. They scored 4 tries. They got the full 5 points. They had 9 clean breaks, 19 defenders beaten. They were also very good in defense. They made 131 tackles and only missed 11. That's an 87% tackle rate, or completion rate. And they had 8 turnovers won. The Sharks were in this game. They were in this game. And you sort of take your hat off to the Sharks. I remember I think it was the last episode we were speaking about the culture. And I feel like that culture is getting where it's supposed to. If you think about it, any player, playing for a team getting messed up, and conceding penalty after penalty, where almost half your team is getting yellow cards, and you still have that mindset of, what, we can do this, and ultimately they did. They did. They really looked good on attack. Marius van der Westhuizen, ref, I felt like he was a very good ref. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that. And I know it's weird.
What you're going to feel is a good ref because your team won.
Well, in all fairness, he did penalize us heavily. Fairly, not unfairly. 17 times to be exact. But I really do. What I like about him is when there's a player that sort of, okay, the game must start. But that's not his fault. That was injuries and obviously penalties. And he'll go to a player that's lying in the floor, tell the medic straight. Listen, is he injured? If he's injured, take him off the field or we carry on. He tries to get the game going on. There was one time where he was warning Vincent Tutuka, the whole time, and Vincent Tutuka told him, listen, I don't know what to do anymore. I've got 3 hours off already because of yellow cards. The Bulls are basically running rugged. They're running all over us. We don't know what to do. And he said, I understand that, but you must understand that Marius van der Westhuizen is going to follow his process and he's not going to stop. So I like him. Good communication, and I feel like most of the calls, if not all.
Just based on that statement, that's why I think Tutuka is a big problem for the Sharks. I think both of those brothers don't even deserve to play club rugby in South Africa, to be honest with you. I think as a captain to say that to a referee and stuff, it's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah. I like him. I think he was also just panicking because he's lost 3 of his players already. He knows how important this game is for them to try and retain that home playoffs. So I think he was just panicking a bit. But he kept a cool head and it paid off at the end of it, But before you must also understand, to me, why I take my head off, my hat off for the Sharks is I feel like the Sharks, they obviously, same as the Stormers, are riddled with injuries. They have 19 injuries, 20 with Trevor Nyakana. That looks like a bad injury. He was walking around with a moon boot. They got. It's not small players that are injured. It's players that have a big impact on the team, like Fassi, Eben, Vincent, Andre Estreisen. I guess Siakolis is in Springbok leave. He was, and Jaden Hendrikse was on Springbok leave. Mapimpi is suspended. Emmanuel Tutuka, I know you don't like him, but those are all players that are sort of have a very big impact in the team, and all of them are either injured or on Springbok leave. And I feel like the Sharks have found a way to start playing with what they have, and because of that, and now I'm going to say something, and I said it before the URC started, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I know I'm going to be right. And I've called this before the season starts. The Sharks are winning this URC. And if you look at what they're playing with a lot of their second string players, this team is just going to get bolstered. Now you look at we're winning a game against the Bulls away. Fine. In all fairness, that game could have gone other side and probably should have gone the other way. But the Sharks are in it. They never gave up, not for a second. Now you got Fassi coming back from injury, you got Andre Estreisen coming back from injury, you got Eben Etzebeth coming back from injury, you got Mapimpi coming back from his suspension, you got Siakolisi coming back. They can only make the team better, so we can sort of only go up from here, Once more, I have a whole sorry, Timo, no, I'm talking a lot now. Yeah, I've got a whole URC map here. We've got the Lions away, which we should win. I think we can win this. But then we've got the Lions at home, which we'll probably definitely win. Then we've got Zebra at home, which we'll win. Then we've got Leinster at home. Now, before I get controversial, I think we'll win this game, and I'll tell you why. This is round 15 of the URC. Leinster will be top of the log still, and probably unbeaten by this time. In my opinion, what I think they will do is they'll send a B team down to South Africa, not wanting to risk injuries, and knowing that even if they lose to the Sharks in round 15, they'll still retain, because they're the only unbeaten team in the URC. They'll still be number one in the log and still have that home ground advantage playoff time. So I say the Sharks win this game. Then we've got Edinburgh away, which we can win. We've got Ulster away, which we can win. Then we've got Ospreys at home, which we can. I'm hoping I'm right. I can be wrong, which I've been wrong many times before. But I don't see the Sharks losing any more games, to be honest with you, in the rest of the
I
URC.
think if I have to say that, um, I think the Lions away is going to be a tough game for you, and then I think your tour. Just bring that spreadsheet up for me there again, and just to. I think the only games, if I were you, that I would worry about, probably the Lions away. Ulster, I think you could do it. Edinburgh at home, I think is going to be a tough one. And so I think out of the games that remain for you, I would back you guys to win all of it, but I think the Lions away and Edinburgh away is going to be tough goals for you.
Yeah. Well, I think the Sharks had a disastrous season last in URC, the last and they still managed to win the Currie Cup, and they still managed to win the Challengers Cup. So I feel like obviously there's a lot of problems. No one is saying the Sharks are perfect. They have a lot of. It's very difficult to be a Shark supporter. It is because they lose a lot of games that they're supposed to win, but then sometimes they win a lot of games that they're supposed to lose. So I'm backing my boys. I think they can do it. Honestly, do. Then notable players for me: Ethan Hooker for the Sharks. Amazing turnover in 29th minute. Scored a try. Most turnovers won. 39 carries, 3 clean breaks, and he had 0 handling errors. Ethan Hooker.
I think that stat there for Ethan already says a lot, because if you look at it, considering that a guy that's a backline player wins the most turnovers, that is a clear indication that your forwards were absolutely no one in that match.
Yeah.
And that's concerning, considering you still have quite an amount of Springbok players in your forwards pack.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yes. Jordan Hendrickson looked very good for me. Jordan Hendrickson looked very, very good for me. I like him on 10 more than fullback. But to me, it's just It's just a blessing having him on the field.
Look, I rate him at the moment as definitely our best 10 prospect, and definitely as the number 10 that's going to carry the Bok jersey into the future and stuff like that. Like I mentioned, Sasha, I don't think Sasha's going to recover. I think he's a flash in the pan. I think he's going to be injury ridden his whole career, and probably going to end up playing, somewhere in France at a club that doesn't really play a lot of hard rugby. But it's just every second game there's something with him,
Yeah.
and that's a problem. I look at the same amount of hits that Jordan's taking, the same amount of tackles that Jordan's putting in. And every week it's 150% with that guy, and I just don't see that from Shasha. And it's not that he's being tackled by. It's not that Shasha's being tackled by bigger guys or whatever. He's being tackled by the same guys that Jordan's getting tackled by, and yet Jordan's walking off the field at the end.
But
of the match.
Jordan's a big guy. He's a big guy for a 10. He's a very physical guy, and I agree with what you're saying.
He's still smaller than Sasha, though.
Yeah, is he?
I think size-wise he's a bit smaller, but I think it's a mentality thing, Back in the day, the Lions had a fly-off as well, Andre Pretorius, and there was always this whole thing with Andre Pretorius that everybody said he chooses the games he wants to play.
Yeah.
And the games he don't want to play is always injured for. and I feel the same thing with Sasha. I think look, he's talented and he can go a long way. But I just can't see it happening. And Jordan's taking the opportunity at the moment. I think Jordan needs to get into that Bok jersey ahead of people of Mani, ahead of Pollard, and actually just be given a chance to get himself settled. And Rassi needs to allow his fly-off to control the back line and move away from this box kicks down the field and stuff, because the potential that we've got at the moment in our backlines and as the young players that's coming through, there's no reason for us that we can't run circles around any opposition at the moment.
100%. Lucanio looked very good for me as well. First time in a long. Okay, that's unfair. He just looked the last time I saw him looking very good was for that Springbok game when Andre Esterhuizen got the red card early in the game, and Lucanio was sort of forced to play 12 and 13, and he did a very good job. But this game, you're sort of seeing strands of that old Lucanio arm. That Lucanio arm that used to be the best 13 in the world. Before he got injured, and Jesse Krill obviously made that 13 shirt his own. He looked very physical, very good. He had 4 offloads. I really.
Lucanio Arm's always going to be a legend. He was at one point for a good 2 or 3 years actually the best 13 in the world.
Yeah.
He's definitely got a rugby mind, and we discussed that in the last
Yes.
episode when we were looking at it.
Yeah.
There's certain people that can just read a game. Lucanio can read a game.
Yeah.
Again, his worst enemy is his age,
Yeah.
and looking at the young talent that we've got available on 13,
Yeah.
we discussed. Van Wyk on 13 for the Lions. You've got Julius that's definitely putting his hand up
Yeah.
and stuff. And I think that's just going to be the thing that's going to count against
Yeah.
at the end of the day. And I won't say it's going to shorten his career because he's had a good career.
Yeah.
So having 4 offloads for me, he did exactly what was expected of him, and the way we know him, and the way his play style is. So he did exactly what we know him for doing. So that's the main thing about it.
The best thing about Arm is that he's playing in the same team as Julius, and why I say that's so good for us is that Julius can sort of, because he's the next player on my list that's been a notable player for me. Jarenzo Julius had 2 clean breaks, 3 defenders beating. He looked very good, very very good, and he's been a young prospect for a while now. And Julius can sort of feed off of that experience for Lucanio, playing in the same position Lucanio used to be the best in the world in. So Julius can learn a lot from Lucanio, especially now with the fact that Julius has been called up for the lineman camp. So
I just honestly hope with the alignment camp that he is given a chance ahead of experience. I would rather than go and say, with the alignment camp, if you're in doubt, get a more experienced inside center in there, and let Julius run that 13 jersey. And again, we're going to talk about the combinations. We mentioned combinations. Andre Esterhuizen playing alongside Jarenzo Julius when the Sharks are injury free. That's a very good looking
100%.
Springbok combination right there.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, you need to look. Jesse Krill's long in the tooth. But then again, you look back, we had Jock Fourie and John de Villiers back in the day. Jock Fourie was a playmaker. Jock Fourie was there when the inside center was John de Villiers offloaded. He scored a lot of tries. He holds a lot of records for the Springboks, and he was a fantastic outside center. And I see a lot of Jock Fourie in Jarenzo Julius. It's just the way he reads the game, his support lines that he runs. And the only thing he's got that Jock didn't really have was he's got a brutal step, and that pace right out of the blocks is just insane.
Yeah. Next player on my list is Tino Mavesere, the Zimbabwean player. Yes. I'll be honest with you. When I was reading the names of the teams when they got announced, I didn't think much of this guy. I know he had a few caps for the Sharks already, but I didn't rate him that high. But he proved me wrong. 17 tackles made, 67 meters. He was man of the match. I mean, he is so fast. He's got wheels on him. There was a breakaway. It was the third try, I think. He breaks away. He runs to the ball. He runs away from Harold Foster and Devin Williams, and he jumps through and he scores a try. He really looks very good.
I don't know what it is with the Zimbabweans that play rugby, because a while back the Stormers had a I forgot about Beast. He had Beast as well, but a couple of years ago the Stormers had a fullback and a winger that was called TONDERAI CHAVANGA, and that guy was just brutal with pace. I mean, if he hit the gap, it was like at some point. If you can't get it, at some point everybody can go check it. Just go check out the best of TONDERAI CHAVANGA. I'll see if we can put a link in the.
Yes, I was just about to say maybe. Yeah.
And that guy was just as brutally fast, and he was a good player, just on the wrong side of talent again. And this guy obviously is Zimbabwean. He sounds young, so maybe he'll be eligible to play for the Boks at some point. And then Rassie just has more wings to pick from, or whoever's the coach at that stage will just have more problems to pick from,
Yeah. Well, Siamo Suku is the next one. Siamo Suku putting his hand up again. He was our sort of our saving grace last season. Coming through. He had some beautiful crossfield kicks. He looked very, very good at 10 once again. I know Jordan Hendricks sort of took that jersey away from him, but Siamo Suku is making an argument. He looked really, really good for me. It's sort of weird to see that he always gets snubbed when it comes to Springbok kicks. Picks and these alignment camps.
I think the thing with that is it's a problem because is he good? Yes. Is he Springbok quality? No. And that's where it comes in. Look at the fly-offs that you do have available. I mean, okay, Marnie's not playing the best rugby at the moment, but you've got Marnie, you've got Willemse, you've got Sasha, you've got
Yeah.
Jordan. You know, then looking Pollard probably still has a World Cup in
Yeah,
him.
100%. I think so.
And just looking through all of that, does he really fit into that? He's not the best goal kicker. Crossfield kicks is not going to make it because Marnie's doing crossfield kicks at the moment. Damien Willemse does crossfield kicks. You know, so does he really stand out in the number 10 jersey in the sense of he's doing something that none of our other fly-offs can? No. He's a lot like back in the day you had Willem de Waal. He's a consistent average player.
Yeah.
But he's not. He has moments where he's great, but for the most part, he basically is a basic number 10.
Yeah.
Would I pick him above Yuri Mattia? 99 times out of a week, I'll pick him above Yuri Mattia. He's not bad. Look, he's a good replacement to have, and if you've got an injury and whatever, it comes down to he's good.
Yeah.
It's a good replacement to have.
Yeah, to me, I would just give him a shot and see what I can do. You know, I think play him in a game, even coming off the bench in a game against Italy or Georgia. Let's just see what he does. Not too long ago, Sasha Faima and Ngumazulu didn't always make the starting 15 for the Stormers, but he showed us the quality he has in the Springbok. Yao Pinke looked very, very good, which is weird because I don't rate him that high as a wing, but he looked good. Usually when he contests the high ball, 9 out of 10 times he knocks the ball, but he was very good on the high ball,
Look, in a perfect team with the Sharks, a perfect team where there's no problems, no injuries, no situations. You've got Fassi, and you've got Hendrikse. So does he even make the bench? I don't rate him. I think he's playing in a franchise that's littered with good players. And for him to really go in there, he's there because you've got a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
He's not there because he's a fantastic player. And I'm sorry to say that it's
no, I also don't.
Maybe in 2 or 3 years' time, you never know. Maybe Fassi moves to Toulon or something. You never know. And then you sit with Pinksy that needs to take up those boots and getting him game time now, probably not a bad thing.
No. Then the Bulls, I have Volkelo, Johan Grobler, and Jay van Heerden. Johan Grobler looked amazing. He was, he was really, really good. And even Jay van Heerden looked very good for me, for the Bulls. I think that anything else you want to add for Bulls and Sharks?
No, I'm good. I think the Bulls were their own worst enemy. Good on the Sharks. I mean, playing with 12 guys for a lot of that match and whatever, to still walk out victories. I think the Bulls need to really go and sit and look at because I mean it's 2 games against the Sharks now where they had a 3-man overlap, and a 3-man advantage, and they didn't capitalize on it. For me as a coach, I would definitely look at it and say, you're playing against 12 guys and we can't score and we can't outplay them. If you play against 12 tries, I mean, to take quality opposition, put New Zealand against South Africa. If we're 12 guys, those guys, we're going to bleed tries. New Zealand's probably going to, if they all 3 go off at the same time for that next 10 minutes, the All Blacks will probably score, 6 or 7 tries. And I don't understand why the Bulls don't capitalize on something like that. I mean, unless, I don't know, maybe the Sharks are just meant to play with 12 people because every time you do that, you walk out as victors and everybody's sitting there and going, what the fuck was that? So, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. Okay, then our last games was Benetton beating Ulster 34-19, Munster beating the Scarlets 29-8, Connacht beating Cardiff 24-19, and then the Glasgow Warriors beating the Dragons convincingly 45-20. Then our last bit of business before I think we've already hit our mark, but anyways, is the alignment camp that I wanted to talk about. So the two of us, we spoke in this episode. What we're going to do is, now we know that these players in the alignment camp are not going to play, or are definitely play for the Springboks. We know that it's only a camp, and it's not to say that they'll be the players that will be starting in the 2025 in our international season. but we thought it would be fun just to sort of have a starting 23 or match day 23 out of players picked only from the alignment camp, and then compare them. But before we do that, let's just quickly mention you know the forwards from the alignment camp. So it's Ethan Bester, which is a very big surprise call to me. I'm a shock, and I didn't think he was bad, but I didn't think he was. Trust and Rasi saw something that we didn't. Pepsi Buthelezi, Eben Etzebeth, Vincent Koch, Sia Kolisi, Bongi Manami, and Tutukom Oxenche, Trevor Nyakane, who is very injured at the moment. But it's only a alignment camp. I don't know if that'll make a difference. Ben Jason Dixon, Joseph Deba, Nedling Bashir, Dion Fourie, which I'm surprised to see. I'm sure he's almost 40, but still very good player. Our hero of 2023. Frans Maherbe, Salman Murad, who always gets chosen and always gets Springbok caps, and I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. Evan Roos, Andre Geventer, Renzo Duplessis, Frank Johan, Asanati, we spoke about it last one. He one player that really deserves it. Ruan Venter, Johan Grobler, Olimpido Kumede, a very good player that the Bulls are not utilizing enough, in my opinion. Kevin Anakom, Volko Lou, Reinhard Ludwig, Roan Orkea, Gerard Steenekamp, Akker van der Merwe, Jay van Jerden, Marco van Saren, Jan-Hendrik Wessels, and Kobus Visa, another player that we mentioned in the last episode. Then at the backs, we've got Lucanio Am, Andre Estreisen, Apalele Fassi, Jaren Hendrikse, Jordan Hendrikse, Ethan Hooker, very happy for that. Jerenzo Julius, very happy for that. Magazola Mapimpi, Grant Williams, Paul de Wet, Sasha Feinberg-Mizulu, Suleiman Atzenberg, Mani Lebok, Damien Willemse, Kwai Non, Mornay van den Berg, Edel van der Merwe, Henku van Wyk. Sebastian de Klerk is probably one of the surprise picks for me. I know that you rate him very high.
I think he's definitely one of the wingers for the future. I know it's always hard to pick Bulls wings because they play such forward dominated rugby, but I see a lot of potential in Sebastian de Klerk, and I really feel that he's got that potential to walk away at the end of his career being one of the names that we are gonna, hopefully we still do this for another 50 years, but he's gonna be one of those names that we're probably gonna rave about and compare new wingers to. I really rate him highly. I do feel that he is in the wrong franchise, and I feel that he could benefit from coming to the Stormers though. I wouldn't mind if the Stormers, but I do actually rate him quite highly. Followed him at schoolboy rugby and all that, so. Of all the schoolboy prodigies and stuff, you look at guys, Jerenzo Julius, that's there, Ethan Hooker, that's there. You look at Sebastian de Klerk, coming young players. And I mean, Ethan Hooker, Sebastian de Klerk, potential future wingers for South Africa. Having somebody like Jerenzo Julius on 13, it's going to be brutal. We can, if you look at the young talent that we've got now, we can create teams that will just run rampant.
So then we've got David Kriel, Villeroy, Kane Moody, Emrys Papier. I think Rassie Rasmus watches our show because we did last weekend, just before the announcement was made, we did suggest that Emrys Papier and Akker van der Merwe gets another shot. So thank you, Rassie.
And thanks for watching.
So before we go on that, I've also got a few notable absentees, in my opinion. Once again, I already spoke about this, which is Sia Masuku.
Sia Masuku, the way he doesn't do anything special that none of the other flyers do.
I would give him a shot.
He's not a game maker. I wouldn't even. I would give him an injection if that's what you mean. Yes.
No, I'd give him a shot. Vincent Suka, I know another player you won't agree with. I would also just see what he can do. Let's see. To me, he looks brilliant at times, and then let's see what he can do in a Springbok shirt. You never know. Yeah. Ruben van Heerden, one of the Stormers players who looked very good. Well, I don't think I mentioned it, but Ruben van Heerden is also one of those players that I think got a bit snubbed. Willie Engelbrecht, I remember in the game against Toulon. When the Stormers lost against Toulon in Cape Town, I felt like Engelbrecht was one of those I felt that the Stormers were lacking physicality in that game, and I felt like Willie Engelbrecht was one of the few players that actually brought it. JD Schikkeling, he was very good. He has been
I feel if I have to, looking at this list so far, I feel Jari Schikkeling could have probably, considering that we've got so many injuries, I feel that he's had a pretty solid season at the Stormers.
Yeah.
And I feel that a call-up might have not been that bad. And the advantage that you've got with him, I mean, he can play 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And yet Murat got a call-up ahead of him. I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
We don't know. Maybe Rassi, if you do, watch our show, maybe you can just let us know in the comments.
Just why? Yeah, just give us an answer. Why? I understand the rest completely, but JD, I don't understand completely.
Sanele Noamba. Now I know that he's not been in the form that he has been previously, and I know that it's because, or I heard it's because of his father that passed away, or something along the lines like that. But to me, Sanele Noamba for a very long time was the glue in that Lions team, and I honestly think that we were speaking about star nines, and I think Sanele Noamba has that. I honestly think that if you gave him a shot as a Springbok, I honestly think that he can prove to us, how good he really is.
No, I can't see it, and I know. Look, I rated him high last year. Last year he was player of the URC, and stuff like that. Look, he's got a lot of potential. Noamba's got one problem. He's arrogant. There was the whole theory or story going of him, the Stormers trying to get him and stuff like that, and then there was the rumors not long after that he's wanting too much money. I don't think Sanele Noamba achieves anything outside of Lions rugby. To be brutally honest with you, I don't rate him high. Let's look at it again. We look at it from a perspective of this. We've got number 9s. Is he better than Grant Williams? Is he better than his teammate? You've got this
at the moment.
Papier. No, it's not. You look at number 10s. Is he better than any of the 10s that's currently chosen? No.
I like him as I like him as
anything for me.
Yeah, I like him as a scrum half and not the fly off. But is he better than Grant Williams? No, but I think he could be. I think if you give him a shot at the Springbok shirt, let's see.
That's a big statement. That's a big statement.
I think so. Honestly, I like Sanele Noamba and I like the fire that he brings. And I'm not talking about the late 2024 Sanele Noamba. He wasn't in form at recent, but there was a time when I honestly thought that he was the best 9 in the 4 units. But yeah, Warwick Gelant. We spoke about Warwick Gelant. Warwick Gelant.
I think Warwick Gelant didn't get called up, and I think it's one simple reason. I think it's an age thing, and Warwick Gelant doesn't appear to me to be the guy that's gonna build up young talent. Willie Leroux is clearly, you can see it with the way Fassi has progressed since he became a Springbok. You can see the hand of Willie in that, the player coaching and stuff going on, and the way he positioned himself and everything, and it's fantastic. I just don't see that in Warwick Gelant, and based on who's there and who's been chosen, I just don't see Gelant bringing any value to that side.
I would have given him a shot, but it could be that. JC Pretorius, and I know that you said you made a good point of him maybe being a bit small, but I don't know. I think if there's one thing that Rassi has shown us that he gives players chances, regardless of the shape and size. I think that JC Pretorius, like I said before, reminds me a lot of a Kwagga Smith. And
look, he's a lot like Kwagga. He's a lot like Heinrich Bressot back in the day. Was also not an extremely big number 6. I think the thing with I would have given him a shot. I rate him highly, and I probably rate him as probably our best number 6 at the moment. That we've got, but maybe another year or two, and I think again it comes down to is. It's hard to measure players that are playing in a poor side.
100%.
If that makes sense, I say that. The Lions are on the good side, so that's why Sanele Noamba looks good. The last couple of games, the Lions that are a bit out of injury and stuff like that, the center pairing is fantastic.
Yeah.
Edward van der Merwe and Quine Horn and stuff. I probably have to say, in my opinion, the Lions probably has one of the most dangerous backlines amongst the South African
100%.
franchises.
Yeah.
It's just a pity they don't have the forwards to back that, though, because if they had the forwards to, if they had to put that backline behind the Bulls forwards pack, and play Lions rugby, it's going to be dismal. I wouldn't want to play them even.
Yeah. Well, then I've got your match day 23. I don't know if you want to just read through it and explain them to us.
Okay. I'll quickly do that. Yeah, so based on the players that obviously this is not everybody. This is only the invited players. If I had to pick a team out of them, Oxenchair.
Sorry, Timo. Just a quick one. Who do they play? So we've made this little game where we're gonna make our bench match day 23. Who do we think should they? If this is the team that you chose, are we using them for?
This team I would play against anybody.
Is it okay? Let's go for it.
This is it. This is not a team against somebody.
Yeah.
So based on that, Oxenchair number one, just because of the solidness behind it, the experience and stuff.
Number one in the URC.
Yeah, I'd give Akker van der Merwe a chance at 2.
Yeah.
He's definitely the best hooker that we've got at the moment. That's included in that alignment squad. Francie at number 3, because it's Francie, you know exactly what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Obviously the legend at number 4 with Eben.
Oh yes.
I would give Kobus Visser a chance at 5.
Yes,
I mean, I think he's showing his colors and whatnot. Marco van Staden at number 6, I feel he's extremely solid.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic defender.
Yeah.
Cameron Hanekom, I'd give him a go at number 7, purely because of his brutality and ferocity. And that made space for Evan Roos at number 8. So they're traditionally both 8th men. But I would like to have both of them in the side where they're not trying to kill each other and rather trying to kill the opposition. Obviously, going with my number 1 ranked scrum half at the moment in South Africa, which is Grant Williams.
Yeah.
Jordan Hendricks, I was very critical of a while back before we started the podcast, but this guy's grown so much.
Yeah.
And I mean, a fly-off that can kick penalties from 65 meters out.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't do that. I'd give Suleiman Hartzenberg a go at number 11. Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu, give him a go at inside center alongside Jerenzo Julius, just because I think if those two are clicking and everything goes right and Sasha doesn't break a nail or anything, I think that center combination would be fantastic. As I said earlier, Sebastian de Klerk rating is probably one of the best wingers in South Africa at the moment. I'll give him a go at forward at 14, and then obviously my favorite fullback at the moment will be Apelele Fassi. I just think he's in a completely different league, and I think he's going to cement himself as one of the greats that ever played the game within the next 2 years.
Yeah.
My bench, I went with a solid forwards pack. I chose as a replacement hooker Andre Guventer because I feel he's a fantastic scrummager, and I'm putting him in between Gerard Steenekamp and Wilco Louw.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, sticking with the South African mentality of creating a bomb squad. I did not pick a lock replacement because I didn't feel that anybody was really standing out for me, in that. If JD Schikkerling was there, I would have probably picked him as my replacement lock. On 20, I went to just get that bit of experience in the thing with Branas, with Dion Fourie, because I think if everything goes wrong, bringing him up and bringing him on and stuff, he'll bring that calmness and a bit of craziness with him. Ambrose Papier, close second scrum off for me in South Africa at the moment. He's had a solid season, actually a solid couple of seasons. He's fast, he reads the game well. 22, Andre Esterhuizen, just to bring in that bit of ferocity should something go wrong. And if you look at the rest of my backline, most of it can be reshuffled. And then obviously just based, this weekend probably cemented it, but I chose him. Quine Horn is definitely up there at the moment as probably definitely the second best fullback in South Africa behind Apelele Fassi. And he's purely there to cover wing and fullback should it be needed. So that was me.
Well, I can't disagree with any of your picks. I see that you went for a 5-3 split, whereas I went for a 6-2. Just to piss off Matt Williams. I went. So it depends on obviously who you play. I don't know if I'll back this team to beat the likes of Ireland or New Zealand. But actually, fuck it, I'll back them. But if I had to use only players from the Lyman camp, I'll probably play this team against Italy or Georgia. It's a very good mix of experience and obviously the newer players coming through. So I went for the experience more on the bench, so that if in my starting 15, drop the ball, at least you've got that experience coming back to bring it back, So I've got Oxenche. Okay, that's one of my experienced players. Best in the URC, no one can argue with that. Definitely the best loose head prop in the world, Sorry, and report that. Akker van der Merwe, both of us said it last week, and he does deserve a shot. He's a bit small, but he is ferocious. They call him the angry warthog for a reason. He is very, very good. Then I paired him with his Blue Bulls counterpart, Volko Low. This weekend, he really scrummed the shit out of the Sharks. He's a beast. I would put Kobus Visa on number 4. I said it last weekend as well. He is a physical beast, and I honestly think I'm happy that he's gotten a shot. Unfortunately, he won't be playing with his brother, here. Which is Jasper Visser. Then I went Ruan Norkia. I think Ruan Norkia is probably one of our inform locks at the moment. He looks so good. I'm almost, I think he actually only got called up. I actually read a story after they lost the final in the URC against the Glasgow Warriors. He went into this dark hole or something. I might I don't know how true the story is. And then his Springbok call up actually saved him from that. And remember, he only got called up because I think it was Cameron Hanekom that got injured. But anyways, definitely informed. Sia Kolisi, my captain, our captain. I just cannot, even with him being 33 years old, still I cannot exclude him from our starting 15. Then I went with Ruan Venter. As I said, I feel like he's one of the flankers that always gets overlooked. A brilliant physical beast. I would go with him on number 7. Cameron Hanekom on number 8. I've told people multiple times that he is and will be the best 8 in the world very, very soon. Grant Williams, as much as I like Emrose Papier, I just feel like Grant Williams still has the edge over him for a bit. Sasha Feinberg Mizulu. So I've been making a big hoo-ah about Jordan Hendrickson. I'll explain. I've got him on the bench. I'll explain that later. But to me, still Sasha Feinberg Mizulu is our sort of the best. I know this is very controversial saying that with Andre Pollard, but to me he's still the best 10 that South Africa has got. He was as young as he is, playing against massive teams like Ireland and New Zealand, winning games. Every time he had the ball, he just looked dangerous. Edward van der Merwe on 11, he did so good for us in his Springbok debut. Andre Streisen is, in my opinion, the best 12 that South Africa's got. I know that Damien de Linde is very controversial saying that Damien de Linde. Damien de Linde actually probably still edges him a bit, but Andre Streisen has been in such good form for the Sharks. Definitely one of my favorite players. This one could have gone either or. Henku van Wyk or Jerenza Julius. It could have gone either or. Both of them had such good games this weekend. I ultimately went with Henku van Wyk, but I wouldn't be angry at either or. Both of them very, very excited. I don't know how you can choose, how it's easy to choose between them. Then I went with Ethan Hooker on wing. I know that he's actually a centre, but to me he looks very, very good on wing. He's such a brilliant defender. He's a playmaker. He's got pace. I really, really like him on wing. And then Apelele Fassi, the best 15 in South Africa. Obviously he's lucky that Damon Willems is injured, but Apelele Fassi is amazing, and he has been amazing for long. And I'm so happy that he's becoming a regular in our Springbok 15. Then I went for Bongi Monambi, just to bring that experience. Gerard Steenekamp, who's also been looking very good for Springboks and Bulls. Asenati in Tlabakanya, very, very good scrummager. What a beast. He deserves a shot. I'm very happy that he's getting a shot. Not to say that he is going to play, but at least he'll be in the mix somewhere. Ebenet Sebet, Even Etzebeth that comes off the bench. Enough said, don't have to say much about that. Frankie Horn coming off the bench, and then Marco van Soren. Marco van Soren makes a lot of mistakes. He knocks the ball on a lot, but it just looks like he's so angry. He tackles the guy like he just saw his mother. I really like Marco van Staden. Then Emrose Papier. That's my scrum off. Slash wing backup, and then Jordan Hendrickse, who can play fullback, center, and fly off. So there's my whole backline covered with only those two players. That's what I went with.
Yeah, I think my team will beat yours though.
I think,
but it was a good try. I mean, you made a lot of effort there. But next time when we do this, I'll coach you a bit. So. No, it's that's the beautiful thing, and I mean just looking at that, considering. It just shows you out of that day there's probably about five high quality teams that you could choose that 100%. Could probably take on anybody in the world.
Yeah.
I just threw up an interesting stat for you, and I just want to reiterate.
Yeah.
And I know we haven't really seen him, and one of the reasons I chose Sebastian de Klerk.
Yeah.
So he runs the 200 meters in 22.9 seconds.
Yo.
Okay. Yeah. The world record is held by I believe it's still Usain Bolt with 19.19 seconds. Yeah. Okay, now that's a guy that trains for that, and Sebastian de Klerk is going to finish a couple of meters behind him.
Yeah.
The guys, man, the guy is really class. It's just a pity that he's playing in a forward-dominated franchise because I would really like to see a lot more of him, and I would really like to see him in the Springbok setup.
Yeah, maybe Dobbe must buy him. 100%.
No, Dobbe must first fuck off and then we'll buy some, because he's just going to destroy that kid's career. And I'm sorry to say that, I've been a Stormer, probably since I've been like 6.
Yeah.
And well, then it was still Western Province before the Super Rugby and stuff. And we've had some good years and we've had some bad years. But what's happening at the moment is, I don't have a problem with badges if it's just the opposition being good and maybe injury-stricken sides. I've got a problem when there's a mentality issue in a rugby team. The Stormers have a mentality issue. The same like we discussed in our previous episode, Wales have a mentality issue. It's a mentality problem there. The coach is not doing what the coach needs to do. And I feel the Stormers are there at the moment, and it's sad for me. And I feel, just step down. How far does the franchise need to fall before somebody goes and says, 100%. Wait a second, there's a problem here. This coach isn't doing what is expected of him. And I mean, it's not that we don't have coaches that we can fall back on. I mean, Franco Smith, you mentioned Johan Ackerman. We've got quality coaches that's there. And for some unknown reason, I don't know what Dobbo does right. I just don't see it. I mean, I look at him in the coaching box, and he just looks like he's there because he's paid to be there. He doesn't look like he's there because he still has a passion for the franchise. And for me, that is sad. I mean, you look at the excitement on, Jake White, for example. There's this constant communication. He's constantly busy, communicating and stuff like that. You look at the passion with the Lions coaching staff. It's when the try is scored, the whole coaching staff is on their feet and all the stuff. And we need that back at the Stormers. We've got a lot of potential at the Stormers. We've got a lot of good players, even as backup players with main players being out. And I just think that there's a coaching mentality issue, and they need to resolve that before the Stormers end up being a wasted team. And I feel that we're not far away from that. We've lost a lot. We've lost our home ground, which was Newlands. We've lost Newlands. We played seven different stadiums in a year. That's supposed to be a home ground advantage and stuff like that. I mean, that's not how it works. And that's all credit I'll give to the Lions. Alice Park has been Alice Park.
Yeah.
As bad as it is around Alice Park and it's unsafe and all that, the Lions are still committed to Alice Park. And they do have their loyal supporters there and whatnot. I mean, you can't change identities like that. Western Province Rugby has been Western Province Rugby for how long?
Yeah.
Now they want to take that away and just make them Stormers. Now I'm all for change, and I don't have a problem with them wanting to do that. But it's a suicide mission, you know.
Yeah.
You do that when your team is winning trophies nonstop. Then you can go and say, guys, listen, we're going to incorporate everything. Now you do that when we're already hurting because you're coaching shit and making our team lose all the games with quality players in the side.
100%.
Yes, but that's my 5 cents on that, man.
Yeah, yeah, we do have to move on. I just want to touch on something that you did mention. Is Emirates Park, Ellis Park. You know, the Lions have to move from there. You know, I mean, I know they've got a lot of Royal supporters there, but I think all 5 of them have to move over to one of the, to the other. You know, I mean, to find another stadium. It's really bringing our South African URC attendance numbers down. You know, I mean, it's even this weekend a derby match shouldn't be.
I remember a while back. We had this discussion.
Yeah.
You know, you've got FNB Stadium that's just down the road.
Beautiful stadium.
You know,
Beautiful.
Yeah, the soccer city.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, you know, incorporate with those guys. Yeah. Sign a cooperation deal. You know, the ground is so safe. It's so fantastic. You know, it's a beautiful, beautiful stadium. You know, there's no reason to keep Ellis Park.
100%.
Move there, your attendance numbers will go up.
Yeah,
and it's just that area around Ellis Park is just ridiculous, really ridiculously dangerous. I mean, you know, it's hard when 60% of your people need to walk home after a rugby match because their cars aren't there anymore.
Yeah, move, or the municipality needs to do a better job at keeping it safe, you know. But yeah, I think that's that for us for now. We went way over than we thought we were going to. So yeah, thanks for those who are listening. And then we'll see you early next week.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Be safe, everybody. Remember to like and subscribe and share as much as you can. And we appreciate all the support.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.